That's a jatobá tree over there, and we are entering the season of jatobá fruit, and the ground is packed with jatobá fruit here. It's littered with it all over the place, and this is good bushcraft over here. This is very good food, very rich in carbohydrate, and I'm going to pick it up. A whole lot of jatobá fruit here. I collected as much as I could, filled up my bag and my pockets, my jacket pockets, and that's enough jatobá to get me going for a few days here. I'll mix it with food and with the food that I brought, and it's gonna add some good bushcraft flavor to my meals here in the bush. As you can see, I got a lot of jatobá fruit here, and there's a whole bunch of insects and bugs living here on the ground just waiting for the jatobá season to come so they can actually eat the fruit and move in the shells, considering this is good hard shell. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna break the shells and select the good ones, and I'm gonna grind it and make flour. What I'm doing here is simply scraping off the brown parts, the purple parts, which are obviously the parts which are not good anymore. But once I have scraped them off, the yellow pulp is actually really good. to talk about a very simple recipe that you can cook when you're out there in the bush, either practicing bushcraft or just camping. You can use actually very simple and basic materials that you can find in most grocery shops around the corner. In this case here, the only ingredient I'm using, which is not brought from the city, is the jatobá flour, which I prepared here, only collecting the jatobá fruit that I found around. These are the ingredients I'm going to use in my recipe. 1/3 of water in a cup, brown sugar, and the jatobá flour with cinnamon. Actually, if you don't have jatobá, and you probably won't find it in your area, if you're not in Brazil, you can use some other fruit, some type of berries, or any kind of fruit you got available in your area. Give it a try. Seriously, when I first tried it, I didn't know if it was going to work out. It did work out for me. I've been eating this here regularly during this trip, and I suggest you try it with the fruit you got in your area. See what you got there, and then you can even tell me and see how good it is. This is a candy which definitely has the flavor of this forest. I am collecting more jatobá because this is pretty much what the hunter and gatherers would do. They would move from place to place according to the seasons, using all the available resources they had. And they knew that the next season that resource wouldn't probably be there, so they would try to collect as much as they could of that resource and try to preserve some, if they could, in order to help them have some extra for times when nature would change and season would change, and then those resources would no longer be there for them. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here. I got a lot of jatobá. I got 2 jatobá trees here, so the ground is pretty much littered with jatobás. These ones here fell off last night, so I'm collecting them because before the bugs and the insects on the grounds do it, because they are doing it. They are here just waiting for these jatobás to fall off because they know this is the season for them. And I am doing like the bugs here because this is the logics of survival in the woods. You use what you got when you got it, by the time you get it. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here with the jatobás, and I'm pretty glad I am in the season of the jatobás because this is very good fruit, and I've been using for several types of recipes here. This tall plant behind me is what we call down here in Brazil as falso jaborandi, also known scientifically as Piper aduncum. Now it is a very tall bush that grows up to between 2 and 4 meters, and it has all these branches and knots along the stems. This plant is original from southeast Brazil, but you can find it all across the nation. It pretty much develops and grows all around the country. Now the most likely areas for you to find this plant here is in those bush areas where the humidity level is really high, or near swamp areas or lakes or rivers. This is the kind of environment this plant prefers. Now as for the aspect of this plant, you will find these structures that sort of resemble some corn structure. And this is where the pollen is. These are the parts which are collected and turned into a flower that replaces pepper. This plant also presents a very distinctive and very peculiar smell because of all the oils which are present in all the structures of this plant. Another interesting aspect is that they grow really fast. In a few weeks, with a few weeks of rain, they grow and spread really fast. I can pretty much say that this whole area you can see back there is crowded with this kind of plant here. As we mentioned before, this plant can be used to replace some types of pepper we got here in Brazil because they are relatives, let's put it this way. They are in the same family. And I'll show you how we do that. We collect these structures here, which I have already shown you before. And we should collect the green ones, all right? And after we collect a whole bunch of these, we let them dry out in the shade for a few days. After that, all there's left to do is grind and break these structures into this really thin powder-like material, which is the pepper you are going to use to season your salads, your fish, or any dishes that you want that require special seasoning. As for another use of this plant, you can actually use the leaves, the green leaves, nice young leaves with no disease, no presence of insect attacks, like these ones here that show these marks. And then what you do is you wrap some food that you want to cook on these leaves here, and you cook them, you bake them near the fire. And what these leaves do is they add some really good distinctive flavor to the food you're cooking there because of the pepper present in the leaves too. And then this is another really good feature of this plant, which has some really interesting uses like we've mentioned. This is actually jungle seasoning. This is just to give you guys an idea between the difference of these two species. One is tall and thin, the other one is chubby and short. I'm going to collect some parts of this plant now and use for food. Okay. These are all water vines. All water vines we got here. This is dry season in Brazil. I'm in the area where my family has a country house, staying here for the weekend. So you look at a dry place like this and you think, well, there's no water here anymore. Well, there is water under the ground, okay, and in the vines that grow from the place where the water used to run through. So the water is still here. You just got to be able to identify the new label, what you're looking for, and you find it. This water vine is coming straight from the place where the stream used to run through. And the dirt here is still pretty humid, so I believe it must be sucking the water that is down there. So I guess there will be more water in that water vine, and I'll check it right now. Excellent. Perfeito. Igual imaginei. Just like imagined. Because the vine is sucking straight from the place where the stream runs, it's got a way more water than any other vine I've tried before here. See the sound it makes? This pure water. First, I filter the water using my bandana to get rid of the bigger solid parts of the water, the debris, the bigger debris that is in the water. Repeat the process. Make sure I'm using the same side as I did before. Mm. Very good. Hey guys, Julio Antoniolo here. Just want to show you my new bush suit, okay, that I've made. It is a bush shirt made out of cotton and this leather vest, and it has to do with this more primitive style that I want to start practicing here. So other than bringing, modern means to the bush, I will keep bringing modern means, but sometimes I want to come here on a more primitive basis, and this is the kind of gear that I'll be using then. As you can see, it was all made by me, other than the pants and my boots. Like I said, I made the bush shirt, I made the vest, I made the belt and the pouches and the side bags that I've been carrying. I even made this knife here, not this one here, I had it made, but this is the gear that I carry here now in the bush. For this trip, I also brought my axe. Now I don't use an axe in Brazil very often. Here, most of the times when I need to do any kind of heavy cut, I use a machete, which fits my area perfectly. But as I want to start practicing this more primitive kind of bushcraft skills and stuff, and the axe being the first hardcore bushcraft tool that primitive man had. Of course, at that time they used stones and flint and then copper. But nevertheless, the axe was the first primitive hardcore tool, and I want to start, working out here in the bush with my axe a little bit more, just to sharpen my axe skills, because I actually miss, working with an axe from time to time. But I just want to give you an idea of the reason why I am dressed like this. It's first because I guess you already know me enough to know that I like to make my own gear, and I like to use, and in this case here, wear my own gear too. And this is just part of what I do, part of enjoying doing the things the way I do, and I hope you like it. As for the gear I got on this trip, here I have my axe. Like I said before, I don't usually use an axe here in Brazil, but the axe being the first hardcore primitive tool for hardcore tasks, I decided to bring it along. I also have here this other knife that I have made out of a machete. It is actually bigger than my Bushman knife, the one that I made, the Mateiro knife. It has more chopping capabilities, but I like it a lot. Scandinavian grind here down on the bottle, convex edge on this portion here, drop point. I have been testing this knife in the bush, but I like it a lot. It's actually better than the Mateiro. The sheath, I made it too, leather made. The little jaguatirica leopard here, it's pretty much like an Indian kind of sheath. The snake here too. I mean, it's just testing this design, Now this knife here I have just acquired. Actually, I got it a few hours before I came on this trip. It is a knife which was made out of a saw, okay? And the steel the guy used here is 1085. He tempered it, old-fashioned, and it's got the jipping here, okay, for your thumb. It's full tang, wooden handguard with these two pieces of brass, of metal, whatever metal it is. It's pretty heavy. It has some really great chopping capabilities. I like the design of the blade, and the guy kept the original surface of the metal here, so it makes this knife look rather rustic and rough. You know what I'm saying? I like this rough looking that it has. This knife is excellent for chopping and small, camp tasks. I did a lot of batoning with it, chopped, wood, and after that it was good, still good to slice bacon, meat, and everything. Good for chopping and cutting, small cuts and perform small cuts and tasks like those ones, the camp tasks I've mentioned. So this is an excellent knife, and I'm pretty glad with it. I'll be testing this knife along too. Like I said, it was made by this blacksmith from southern Brazil. People from southern Brazil, they're really, really good at making knives and this kind of stuff. He's from Rio Grande do Sul. His name is Patrick. So Patrick, thanks a lot, man, for this knife. The sheath was, I don't think he makes these sheaths. It's another guy that makes them. But I like the design too. You can use it, on your belt, passing, the belt here through the loop. Or use this, I don't know what you call this, a pallet, whatever, to put it in your pocket if you don't want to carry it on your side and then you want to carry it on your pocket. It's a nice little knife too. Here, for water, I have this Spanish boot canteen, which holds 1 liter of water, and it is by Coleman. You can see here, Coleman. I removed the old straps that it came with it, and I put this leather straps here because I like them better. The other one had some nylon straps like this one here, which was really horrible, and I actually prefer the straps, the leather straps that I put here. Well, for the pouches and the bags you see up there, what I got here, I have already discussed these things on previous videos. But let me just tell you that inside my side bag here, I have all the primitive bushcraft gear that I've been using. On this side pouch here, I have all the modern survival kit items that I carry that I need, like space blanket, ferro rod, magnesium block, signaling mirror, whistle, like water plus water purifying tablets and that kind of stuff. And inside this little pouch, I have like a bushcraft compass, this old looking one, and my pace counter too, the one that I made, the one that I bushcrafted. And that's basically the configuration that I've been using during this trip, and you guys will be seeing me using this configuration a lot from now on. So it's just to give you a general idea of what kind of gear I've been carrying and I've been using here, and I hope you like it. As you can see there, my snail lamp has been working well. So far it's been burning for 2 hours, 2.5 hours actually. And what I've been doing is I've been feeding it up with fat, okay, that I got from my bacon. And as soon as I approach the fat to the snail, because the temperature inside there, the oil, it's pretty hot. So as soon as I approach my fat butter to the flame, to the burning flame, it melts down into the snail shell, and then I can feed up my snail with oil. Well, I think I can keep it burning for long enough, okay, for at least another 3-4 hours maybe, if I just keep, feeding it up with the fat. But I like it. I would say that it is a success. And if I just hold and grab the snail by the back here, which is actually here, if I hold the snail by the back right here, it's not hot. I can carry it around and it will light up my way. This is really good experience. It's been a good experience, and I would say it is a success. My snail lamp works really fine. One thing though, for wick, what I got here is toilet paper, which I wrapped and rolled as a wick. And because I made it thick, it's been, burning the oil faster. Of course, if it was thinner, it wouldn't suck up as much oil as it's been doing now because it's very thick. So I would say that it's this little shell lamp here has been burning a lot of oil. But I got a lot of oil to burn here, got a lot of fat to burn, and because of it I got a big light. So I would say that the little flame burning on the top of it, it is light enough to clear up this whole area here. And I would say it's been burning even better than my almost dying candle lamp, right? And I still got fat in there to burn for much longer.